Hello everyone. I'd like to offer a bit of a critical analysis of the recent arrest of David Boren somewhere out in Texas. And I'd like to preface the video by saying that I have nothing but the utmost respect for those who go and point cameras and film those who claim to be police. I think it's something that more people ought to be doing, but aren't for whatever reason. And if I seem critical, it's nothing personal, and I think that there's things that can be learned from those who go film the police now and those who might be interested in doing it in the future. And I'd like to bring it to your attention before the video gets started that when people get, quote-unquote arrested, there are these things usually read called Miranda rights, and they tell you that anything you say can and will be used against you. So I think that ought to be kept in mind by those who go and film the police. Any claim you make can be used against you. You bear the burden of proof of proving your claim, say you have rights or saying that you're on a public sidewalk or any of that. But that cuts both ways. If the claims are left to the police officer, they're saying that they arrested you, they're saying that you need to get back, then the onus is entirely up to them to prove what they are doing. And that's where I think the key is to these interactions, is leaving the burden of proof on those who claim to be police officers.
Back away and let us do our job.
The first thing that any of the police officers said to him was, "Sir, you're going to have to back away and let us do our job." So I would get this because this is the record, and they also have body cameras on, but I wouldn't depend on their footage. Because what's the consequences if it gets lost, or deleted, or edited? Oops, our mute button was on. Oops, it stopped recording. What's the consequences for that? So, your filming is the record. The cop says you need to move back and let us do our job. Is that an order? Is that a command? Getting that on the record is priceless, because you're going to notice later in this video, they say, "We're asking you to move back. We asked you to move behind the pole." Asking and ordering are two different things. It makes the police officer look way better if they're saying, "And then I asked him to move back." Like it's all friendly. It's a request. As opposed to an order, like a master-slave relationship. Like they are the master telling you, the slave, to obey them and do what they say. It could also be asked, if I don't move back, are you going to put hands on me? Are you going to use physical force on me if I don't do as you say? Yes or no?
Bro, I'm not stopping you from doing your job. Do your job. I'm not in your space. I'm on the public sidewalk.
I'm on the public sidewalk, and he might be right. Isn't it going to be up to David to then prove that in court? His word versus the cop's word. Who do you think the jury's is going to take? Whose word do you think the jury would take? Your word versus the cop's. As opposed to leave the cop to make the claim and then prove it. Bring out the gun in the room. Bring out the nature of your interaction with the police, and that the nature of their interaction with you is based on orders and commands and violence. They tell you to do what they say, and if you don't do what they say, they'll use physical force or violence on you.
Okay.
Keep going.
I'm good right here. I'm good right here.
Go back to the pole.
What's your name?
You'll notice after David said, "I'm good right here," the tone of the police officer changed, said, "Go back to the pole, more aggressively, more assertively." And then it's going to change. Well, now I asked him to. Bring out the fact that they're giving commands and orders.
What's your badge number?
10565. Now, when I already asked you, back up and give us some space. Do you understand?
See, now he said, "I already asked you back up and give us some space." That looks way better on the record for the police officers. See, we asked him. Not told him to. Not threatened him. Asked. Needs to be brought out what they're doing to people.
I did back up.
Nobody's saying you can't film, but you need to go back behind the pole in order.
According to what facts? Why do I have to go back up to the pole? Is it because you'll use physical force on me if I don't? If you're going to use physical force on me if I don't, then I will. But otherwise, I'm going to stay right here. The cops aren't even trying to cite any public relations or laws to back up their claims. So it's their word against yours, their command against proof. Any facts that you have any obligation to do what they say? Do they have personal first-hand knowledge that you have any obligation to do what they tell you to do? Yes or no?
No, I'm good right here, dude.
No, you're not good right here.
Yeah, I am.
Because we're allowed to have our workspace.
You're allowed to have your workspace according to what?
I'm not in your
You're allowed to
workspace.
film, but you need to go back behind the pole.
Unless you want to get involved in this.
10 feet's more than plenty.
Let's go back behind the pole.
I'm good right here, dude. Get your supervisor. I want to talk to your supervisor.
You may, but you need to go back.
I need to talk to your supervisor right now.
Behind the pole first.
I need to
and
talk
then
to your
we'll
supervisor,
How many
dude.
times he asked you to back up?
I need to
Back
talk
up.
to your supervisor.
See, now it's turned into asking. As opposed to, you need to go behind the pole. Is that a request? Is that asking? Or is that a demand? This wasn't brought up in the video. It wasn't clarified.
Who's your supervisor?
Not here today.
Yeah, he is.
We can get
Call
you
him.
one.
Call
Take your
him.
hands out of your pockets.
Call him.
Take
Call
your
your
hands out of your
supervisor.
pockets.
See, it's put your hands out your pockets. I don't know if he had his hands in his pockets or not, regardless. The police are trying to do everything they can to make themselves look good when they put hands on you. If it's not clarified that what they're doing is violent, then it's your word against theirs. I'm sorry, the jury most likely is going to take their word against yours.
Right now.
Pat this
Dude,
guy down.
get the fuck off me,
Hands
bitch!
are on.
Get the fuck off me, motherfucker! Fucking asshole! Get the fuck off me! Get the fuck off me right now, motherfucker! Dumbass motherfuckers!
Are required, yes. And 10 feet is a made-up rule that you just made up.
Nope.
It might be a made-up rule, but how would it be any more made up than what they're telling him to do? They didn't try and cite any statutes, codes, acts, ordinances, or regulations that said that would or show that we can make up our workspace.
If you guys need
We are allowed
security,
to
then
set our own space.
then set up the tape.
We asked you.
Set up
You
the tape.
refused to listen.
See? It's asked and you refused, as if he has any obligation to do what they tell him to do or ask him to do.
It was a reasonable request. Nobody said you couldn't film.
Hey, loosen these
but
up,
we
dude.
are allowed to tell you where you can
Hey,
film.
They are.
loosen these up.
So
dude.
We're allowed to tell you where you can film, according to what?
we can do our job.
I know. Loosen these up.
No, they're good how they are.
No, they're not.
Oh, David agreed. He said, I know. Ouch. The words that you say when you're interacting with the police often mean more than the people who say them. No.
Here, relax your hand. I'll move them down a little bit so they should be. There you go. Better.
And the other one too.
Turn it. Your hand. There you go.
You guys wonder why cops drop? It's from shit like this, dude.
what your deal is tonight. You gotta calm down, man. What do you have on his waist? Pepper spray.
It's a flashlight, dumbass.
Is it?
I don't consent
Oh, you're
to
right.
searches or seizures.
You're already on the ground and in handcuffs, and you're telling them you don't consent, like they care.
Cool. Hopefully,
Fucking retard.
how's this on?
You want to touch my balls while you're at it, dude?
No one wants to touch your balls.
You want
man.
to choke me?
No one
Choke
wants
me
to
right
choke
here, dude.
you.
I'm defenseless.
Calm
Dumbass
down, man.
motherfucker.